By the way, it seems like there are a lot of mixed messages surrounding the U.S. attack on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities and just how effective that attack was. An early internal Defense Intelligence Agency report claims that the attack set the Iranian nuclear program back by as little as a few months. However, CIA Director John Ratcliffe called that illegally sourced public reporting, saying the CIA obtained intelligence that shows Iran's nuclear program has been, quote, severely damaged. President Trump has said the U.S. attack, quote, completely and fully obliterated the nuclear facilities. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, posted on X that new intelligence confirms the president's claims. Meanwhile, the Israeli Prime Minister's office says that the U.S. strikes, combined with the Israeli attacks, have set the Iranian nuclear program back years. Are you still with me? So how do we know what to believe, who to believe, and how these intelligence agencies confirm whether or not a mission is successful and how successful? So to help us understand all of this is CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd. Sam, good morning.
Good morning.
Sam, I'm sure you were following along when the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff conducted a press conference that just ended, I think, just a few minutes ago. Did you better understand anything about the intelligence that we have about the effectiveness of these bombs?
Well, Adriana, having been consuming intelligence for almost 18 years, here's what I can tell you. Intelligence assessments often do evolve over time. Normally, after a major security event, like in this case a military strike, policymakers, the people that make decisions, ask the intelligence community to almost immediately conduct an assessment of whether, in this case, the strike was successful. The intelligence community is then given a really firm deadline and told, give us the best assessment that you have as soon as possible. And the intelligence community uses whatever information they have available in that time period. Their sources may be limited. They then prepare what's called a preliminary assessment. They provide it to policymakers, oftentimes with caveats, levels of confidence in what they're presenting, number of sources that they've relied upon. And then policymakers wait for a final assessment that integrates more information, may have higher confidence levels, and involve, in some cases, more members of the intelligence community as well.
You know, Sam, this whole thing feels like it's just totally saturated with politics. You can understand why the president, a political leader, would want to declare victory and champion the success of the mission that he approved. You can also understand why critics or enemies of the president would want to characterize this underlying intelligence and undermine what he's saying. Can you help us understand the extent to which an intel report can be read differently by people with different political ideas about what should have happened?
Well, intelligence, Tony, can actually just be wrong. I mean, we have seen intelligence assessments just be inaccurate in the past. Look at the Iraq War. It is a fact that intelligence assessments are prepared by human beings. Even if human beings aren't pushing a political agenda, they can misread intelligence. They can interpret sources incorrectly and give an assessment that turns out to be mistaken. By the same token, politics could invade the intelligence process. And if you have cabinet officials or a president that are trying to push a political agenda, they could try to censor intelligence or misrepresent it. And that's why intelligence analysts are apolitical, but it's very important that there be leadership in this country that takes politics out of intelligence and presents an intelligence assessment, whether it jibes with a national security agenda, a political campaign, and more.
So, Sam, how would intelligence in a case like this be gathered? What is the process like, and what kind of sources might be on the table?
Well, after a military strike, there are various parts of the intelligence community that are tasked with understanding whether the strike was successful. For example, the Defense Intelligence Agency is a member of the intelligence community that supports the military. They're going to be relying on their own sources and methods, including satellite imagery, human sources, signals intelligence, to prepare an assessment. They have a specific mission. They have a specific set of sources. The Central Intelligence Agency has a whole other set of sources and methods that they're relying on, as does the National Security Agency, the National Geospatial Agency. All these different members of the intelligence community are using their specific sources and methods to put together assessments of what happened. And then ultimately, Adriana, we would want to depend on the Director of National Intelligence, in this case Tulsi Gabbard, to pull everything together and to present a consolidated assessment to the President of the United States about what happened. It is possible that various members of the intelligence community could have different perspectives on the efficacy of these strikes. That should be noted in the report, should be presented to the President, even if there are differences of opinion, and then an appropriate version of that report should be made public, not a leaked version, but a declassified version of that report should be made public without censorship so that the American people can understand what happened.
Yeah.
Hopefully it is.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
I hope it is too. I mean, none of it detracts, I don't think, from the incredible design of the B-2, the success of a 37-hour flight, 12 bunker-busting bombs, pinpointing a target. I mean, beyond that, you hit the target, you can't control what happens under the ground. I guess we'll find out when we find out.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sam. Appreciate it.